2. Extensive menu, if you guys haven't already got it. Right now. We also have a host of other sponsors, which we always like to mention. 21C Museum Hotel is our presenting sponsor this year. So if you ever have guests come to town, the museum is a hotel. It's so swanky. It's right up there. We love it if you kind of send people there that way. We have some other major sponsors: Context Systems, Allen Thomas Jr., NCMA, EO Ventures, lots of other institutions, museums, all around the train. We're really super happy to be here. Art Institute. I mentioned that. No. Not listening. I wasn't. I also want to mention some upcoming events that are really happening very, very soon. Starting out with tonight, which is great. We're so glad that David Simonton here. I can't wait to hear this talk tonight. We're starting, I think, as early as tomorrow. We have some workshops at the Acton Museum in Chapel Hill. A few events on Thursday, including an artist talk and book signing just up the street at 21 Museum Hotel by Leah Soaps. She has work up there and a very recent work she's going to be talking about. Of course, second Friday in Chapel Hill, there are some openings all across Chapel Hill, in particular a great group show at the Frank Gallery with Frank Street. And then a huge thing on Saturday, which y'all being students, I'm still going back to work on, is a great panel discussion on how to build and protect and grow your archive. That's everything from if you're shooting analog, you're shooting film, how to protect it, how to annotate it, how to keep it, if you're shooting digital, how to protect that, how to use that, protect it, share it, what value that has. We've got some great panels, including Les Berry goes on that. Coming up early next week, it's already open. The opening for Sheila Pre-Bright early next week. She's an amazing artist who does sort of documentary stuff on a lot of social issues things. We've actually put a call out for volunteers. I know that's been sort of maybe mentioned to students, but we would love to have the idea of having students sit as docents. We have how many hours? It's like a 3-hour window.
Yeah, the 2 slots are 2 to 5 p.m. and 5 to 8 p.m. every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, starting today and going to October 28th. So that 9 to 12 slots.
Yeah. It's a great project. It's great to be around that work, to learn about it. It's also, maybe even nobody comes in. It's a great place to sit, study, and read, and also if people come in to share what you learned about the work. So if any of you guys are interested in that, I think there might be extra credit possibly available. Please grab up one of us after the talk. I think that's all the quick business to talk about. I'm super happy to have David Simonton here to talk to us tonight. Thrilled about this. David moved to North Carolina about a year after I left North Carolina. 30 years later, I come back. He's one of the first people I got to meet and found out a little bit about how we had a couple things in common. I had a class right before I left Chapel Hill at the Art Center in Clubber by John Menendez, who was one of the best classes I ever had. Some people consider him sort of the father of fire in North Carolina. David, when I first met him, told me a story of having met him when he came to town and found a kindred spirit. John's class has influenced me, and the work I see David Simonton, I can see why he says they're kindred spirits. I think David shoots with such incredible vision and sensitivity. Really fresh, but really timeless the way he shoots. He's taught photography for a long, long time. I had the great pleasure last year during the festival showing him a portfolio of mine and review, and I got to see that firsthand. The way he looks deeply at work, speaks so sensitively about the art of photography. It was a real pleasure to have him share his thoughts with me on my work. So for students, I'm very excited to hear what he has to say to us tonight. Through his career, he's received not just one Visual Arts Fellowship from North Carolina Art Council, which is a very good thing. He's received 2 of them. His work is in the collections of the Asheville Art Museum, the Ellis Island Collaboration Museum, the Do Good Fund out of Columbus, Georgia, the George Eastman Museum in Rochester, New York, and when NCMA really launched their photo collection in the early 2000s, bought 2 portfolios of work, one by Matt's 15-image portfolio by David Simonton. I'm super psyched to be able to talk tonight. David, thank you very much for being here. For sure.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. I know I have some competition tonight, who wouldn't go able to debate. I'm sure a lot of you wage. But anyway, here you are, and again, thank you very much. I'll do my best. This isn't my natural environment. I mean, I'm a film photographer, right? I spend a lot of my time in a small, dark room. So getting out like this is great. Small, dark room. Getting out like this is great, especially seeing some familiar faces. I want to thank the Art Institute for hosting. Can you hear me all right? I want to thank the Art Institute for hosting this event. Food outside later. I also want to thank Jane for all the help. Martin, John, were great help with the IT guys here. I want to thank Houston Pascal and CY. She's the associate curator of modern art. And Franklin has asked any opportunity that I have for all they've done personally. We're all enriched. So I'm going to show you some slides telling the story of how in 1989 I moved from northern New Jersey to Raleigh, North Carolina. 10 years later, ended up in prison with my camera. And prison was Polk Youth Center. Does anybody remember? Have you heard of the Polk Youth Center? It was located right next to the museum, in fact, North Carolina Museum of Art in Raleigh. I'll show you a map where it is. It really was a prison, although it was called Polk Youth Center. It's a very benign, friendly place. It was actually quite a violent place, especially in the end. Prison opened in 1920. It was a prison farm. In 1963, they augmented a lot of the buildings in it, so, and made it this Polk Youth Center. And I'll be telling you the details. They tore the prison down in 1990. They closed the prison in 1997 and tore it down in 2003, and I had the opportunity to photograph it. And that's what I'll be talking about as well, a little bit about how I got started, some things about photography as well. Again, thank you for being here. Oh, and thanks, Bryce, for that wonderful introduction.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Oh, and congratulations to Click on their 18th year. Even better. Well, I'm going to start in the prison. I'm going to talk about the prison, but I want to start in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. This is a photograph made at night back in November of 1995. You can see the front of a car there on the right. That's the parking lot of Crook's Corner. So if you know where Crook's Corner is, that house existed there. It's possible to see that there's a Harvey Gantt campaign sign in the window. One of the things that's so amazing to me about photography, and keeps me so interested in it, is how it's able, as we all know, to capture a moment in time, but not only capture it, but distill it in a way and memorialize it. It will always be November of 1995 in this picture, even though, of course, time has passed, and this location has changed significantly over the years. Notice the tree. The house looks like something's going on. In fact, Google Street View shows us that although the tree is still there, the house is long gone. And I was there recently, and that's what it looks like now. The parking lot's still there, of course, for Cook's Corner, but the scene is altogether different. With the passage of time, things change. But it will always be 1995 in this photograph. The first time I exhibited this picture, Elizabeth Matheson, one from North Carolina, photographer, a treasure really, looked at this not knowing anything about it, and she recalled the movie Sling Blade. Now I know some of you may not be familiar with that movie, but apparently this setting reminded her of that. I'm going to be talking, as I said, about Polk Prison and the time I spent there, from the time it closed until the time that it was demolished. That's 2003. If you were to Google Polk Youth Center, in fact I did it yesterday, I took a screen grab. Polk Youth Center. It's the same place. I'll go back with the smokestack in the distance there. One of the reasons I thought it would be a good idea to bring this work back now is because not only is the prison gone, but it's about to become a new thing altogether, and that's the new museum park, the land that those old prison buildings stood. And in a few weeks, they'll have their grand opening celebration. Now, I'm not taking any chances here. Here we are in Durham, and there's Raleigh, of course. We'll get off. Oh my gosh. Here we go on Wade Avenue, and right before you get to the Beltline, we're talking about this area right in here. So there's the PNC Arena. Come off on Wade Avenue, get off right here on Blue Ridge Road. There's the museum, and this is where the prison was. I mentioned this used to be a prison farm. Blue Ridge Road, this section used to be called Prison Farm Road. There's the arena, there's the museum, there's the location. They're getting the park ready to open. Back in 1997, there's the prison up there. You can see this very cozy relationship with the museum. Here's how it looked. This was in the 1980s. You can see some of the guard houses here, back here, and so on. And I remember when I first moved here in 1989, I would sometimes drive down Blue Ridge Road, and I would notice people lined up. They have these rows of fences, and it turns out that people were there on the weekends lined up for visitors' outings. Here are those fences. If you go on the North Carolina Department of Corrections website, there's an entire section on the youth center, and I'll just put up a few pictures to show you what it used to look like. Get a sense of it anyway. In 1995, a few years before it closed, Candace Cusick of the Independent took some pictures inside. There are the buildings. There's a recreation yard in the back here. You just see a baseball diamond. This is a basketball court. Believe it or not, this is shuffleboard. This is the main dormitory. This is the first building that was built there back in the 1920s. There are other buildings there as well as the smokestack. You can see where the fencing was. Polk housed 380 male youth, ages 19 to 21, 330 employees, 28 to 14 in the fence. doesn't have more than 20 different buildings, including 8 modular units. After it closed, they moved the prisoners to a new facility up in Butner, about 30 miles north of Granville County. Oh, how did that get in there? Oh yes, that's right. Before I go any further, I want to tell you a little bit about what I was up to before I moved to North Carolina. I was a pharmacy technician in a drugstore where I worked for many years, starting out as a delivery boy and then a shelf stocker. I rose very high in the organization. Here I am on the first computers we got in there. Anyway, that was by day, but by night and on weekends, holidays, I was photographing all the time. I got started in high school. I set up a darkroom and a bathroom. I just couldn't get enough. The first apartment I ever moved into, it had a window in the shower. It was wonderful. The first time I reached in to test the water to see if it was okay to get in, I was just struck by that light. I thought, oh my God, I gotta get my camera. So I took the picture. I was very close to Manhattan where I lived and would go in on weekends. This is at the Museum of Modern Art, Sculpture Garden. This is a window open at the end of the day in Wall Street. Woman rushing to catch the subway. I went to concerts too. The first concert I went to was a Canadian brass group called Lighthouse. And I'd never photographed at a concert before. I had a front seat way in the back. It was outside. And I noticed a lot of photographers moving right up to the stage, and I thought, what the heck, I'll give that a try. So I ran up to the front of the stage, and darn it if I didn't have like 3 shots left. And so what I did after the last shot, I just forced the, well, I thought I was moving the film, but I wasn't. I was tearing the sprocket. So what ended up was I got a double exposure on 1 frame of film that actually worked out. I say I'm self-taught as a photographer. I never had any classes, but I actually had a great teacher in Ansel Adams. His books, the negative and the print, especially for photographers of my generation, film photographers, these were really invaluable. Adams was never dogmatic about his approach or his technique. He said, I'm going to suggest some things, see if they work. If they work, great. If they don't, try something else, but this was a starting point. And I really liked that, and his enthusiasm came through. In either one of those books, you'll find lots and lots and lots of explanation points. It's very excited about the process, and that excited me as well. I mean, he would show you how he made, for instance, a print like Clearing Winter Storm, you may be familiar with it. How he held back the light during exposure on the bottom right, so those trees wouldn't get too dark, and then how he gave extra exposure to the top, so the clouds would be very dramatic, and yet the way he's done it, you can't really see that he's done anything, and yet it's perfection. But he shared that. He had detailed notes, talked all about the papers he used, the chemistry he used. It's fantastic. Well, I've been photographing a lot and printing a lot. There was really nobody to show. I mean, I showed my mom, but this was before, the internet and photo sharing, and I didn't know any other photographers. I was just doing this for myself. I did have one friend who taking this picture and said, hey, we've got all these pictures. I hear over on Ellis Island, they're looking for photographers. This was in 1988, and at the time, they were renovating the buildings there. And he said, why don't you send your portfolio to the National Park Service? I said, yeah, all right, I'll do that. He said, no, you should do it. So I did, and they invited me to participate. There's how it looked at the time, and this was 1988. And the registry building, see them here. But this is a place that I was especially interested in. The project, as I said, was called Documentation Interpretation. So I would document progress, restoration, progress. Very straightforward. Just take the same shot every week. I go over every week. I set up my camera in the same spot, and I turn, and I take the picture, and I go to the next room, and I start taking the shot, take the picture. Pure documentary. And for that, I was given free roam of the rest of the island to interpret what I saw. Film it, paper, nirvana. It was fantastic. And it ended up changing my life, and it's the reason I'm here tonight. Oh boy. Well, it was a life change. I mean, I shaved my beard. And I tell you, I wasn't really equipped, but it was enough that I could get pictures that pleased me. I've got a 35mm camera in my hand. I've got a twin lens reflex camera, tripod, small format, medium format, smaller film, larger film. And the TLR on the rigged tripod there is one you open the top of and look down into to take a picture. There's relative sizes here, 35mm negative and a nice big 2¼ negative. You get a lot more detail and so on. Make bigger prints if you're in the dark room. Cook pots, mirror shards. This is a mysterious picture. Not to me because I know where I was, but I'll tell you, I've been online looking about Ellis Island to see what other photographers are doing there. I found a picture of the room that I took this in. It would be so helpful. Here it is. And here it is. And if you notice, right there. So I didn't really have to do anything but set my camera up right there. There's a picture. It's amazing how it has very an old fire hose. This is the hospital corridor. And I just love the way those the windows just got white in this picture. The thing is, I was so excited about this, but what I was seeing from my full height was this. The light on the fuse box door reflecting off the glass there only showed up when I looked down into the camera, which was lower than me, and I remember going, yes, even better. Nice arrangement in one of the storage rooms. Oh, Jerry Oldsman was there. There he is photographing some of the mattress steamers. This is a picture by Sylvia Pluck, who was a very early influence of mine and continues to be. And this is Sylvia's work from Ellis Island. I met Emma Gowan and Larry Fink. And at lunchtime, we'd all bring in our prints from the week before. These are people whose books I have on my shelf, and we're just changing our photographs. And the thing that was so wonderful to me is nobody was saying, whose are these? I mean, I'm not saying mine was, anyway, you get the idea. It was very gratifying and very encouraging. Famous hallway, which I think they have tours there now. This now looks like this. They've really cleaned it up. So again, having these photographs is just wonderful for me. To sort of memorialize the time that I spent there. There's a view of Statue of Liberty. I was so encouraged by this experience that I thought, you know what? I'm 36 years old, I'm working in a drugstore. Photography's been like the one thread that has run through my whole life. I worked for the railroad, I did sounds for a band, I worked in factories, I all kind of jobs, but photography was it. I thought, well, if I'm not gonna do it now, when am I gonna do it? So I thought, well, I'll move to North Carolina, and I'll try to make a go of it as a photographer. I've been all over the place. The last 25 years, I've been to like 366 places in Raleigh. Durham's over here somewhere. It's so sad to think that so many of these places are now underwater. It's just tragic. In 1992, I had the good fortune of meeting the master photographer, Harry Callahan, at the Light Factory. He gave a wonderful talk, and I'll forget the things he said, mainly because I wrote them down. He said to get out and walk and look is wonderful to me. You can find things to photograph in your own backyard. And you can take that literally or figuratively. For me, as much of traveling as I've done, Durham is sort of my backyard in a sense. And these are some pictures I've made here. It's very washed out. I'm sorry, it's not the IT guy's fault. This is purely my fault. I'm not a really tech guy, but you get the idea. Oh, if you walk out onto Blackwell Street and make a right, there's the underpass. You walk out and make a left, there's the entrance to the American Tobacco. Looking a little different 20 years later, or before. This is the old boardroom in American Tobacco. Your prison. And this was serendipity. Never discount luck. I was setting up this shot. I guess I liked the cloud where it was and the geometry and so on. And what do you know it, this guy rode by just as I was taking the picture, and I'm so glad he did. The great Honoré Cartier-Bresson said, I have a passion for geometry. My greatest joy is facing a beautiful organization forms. I know how that feels. I set up this situation in Winston-Salem because I just liked all these lines, darks and lights, and just what everything seemed to fit together. And sure enough, this young man comes walking by and really makes the shot. So with this idea of shooting your own backyard, I live 2 miles from home prison. It takes me minutes to get there. So it was so convenient. I knew the place had closed. And it was one thing to go and drive a few hours to photograph, but to be able to get in your car and drive right down the road. I knew the place was abandoned. I'm drawn to abandoned places. So I went and photographed there. This was in 1998. Some of the old barbed wire and razor wire on the playing field there, the recreation yard. Obviously, most of the buildings were locked and it was a prison, but some of them were open. One of the dormitories. And this is before digital, so one of the trips over, I brought a little Olympus, some film camera, and I just took some snapshots of the room. That turns out it's the day room on the top. I guess that was on the board stuff. The kitchen on the bottom, the cafeteria, the dining room on the top, one of the dormitories minus the bunks on the bottom. In other words, it was mostly empty rooms. There wasn't a lot to photograph there, you know, that I saw right off the bat. The whole thing was creepy, but this building was the segregation building, and there were like 9 cells on either side, and if anybody was acting up or whatever, they'd throw you into one of these things. It wasn't quite like that, but anyway, these were individual cells for prisoners who needed to be segregated, and I've been doing a lot of reading about Polk, and I found a picture of actually an inmate in one of these cells. Really brings into a life. I mean, cells are like, what, 80 years old? It's not a nice place. This is the big dormitory, East Spring, West Spring. A lot of handwritten stuff there. Hardly a modern facility. There's the playing field, the scoreboard. An art project that the museum sponsored. Had people come in and paint the guard towers black. Basketball court. And I want to acknowledge that, you know, during this time, there were other photographers photographing there. I certainly wasn't the only one. I mean, it was a real draw. Brian Reagan shot there over many years, including the demolition. Madame Belfield in 2014, 2015. That smokestack, by the way, is for the powerhouse that they built. That's where they generated all the electricity for the plant, as I understand it, in that smokestack. Smoke. And Michael Clausen made this beautiful. It just feels like winter. This picture shot in 2014, I believe. And this picture is so evocative. There's something about that gray sky and that diffuse light. It just, like I said, feels cold. There's something about the quality of light, before I come through this slide, but had the sun not been out, this would have been an opaque picture, it would have been a different picture. I was reading a woman's blog the other day. She said, my college photography professor said on the first day of class, the three most important things in photography are light, light, and light. Sort of a nondescript scene, like the one on the left is just a parking lot in Wilmington. The day I was there, it was late in the day. I remember running down the parking lot to get this shot on the right because the light made these beautiful patterns, shadows. Light made the difference. Light is the center of why one makes pictures and how one makes them. This is the Humber House in Greenville. Not really anything to photograph, but 15 years prior to that, I was there at night before they had restored the place. It looked like this. Light makes all the difference. This is what made me stop taking pictures. Now, this is, you know, this level of costume is all very sophisticated. Here's my dark report. I'm being facetious. It's right off the kitchen. It's in my laundry room. And it's quite a system. I have a sports cloth on a curtain rod and I pull it across. And go. Set to go. And once you get in there, it's kind of cramped quarters. Cassette tapes. Yes. And you know, it finally occurred to me over the years, probably too late, that it might not be a bad idea with all the overtrays of chemistry to get an air purifier. It's made a lot of difference, I'll tell you. Oh, and this, the ventilation. My wife encouraged the ventilation. So in case you see me getting a little fuzzy. This darkroom timer I use, I got that for Christmas, 1972. Take the buy quality, it lasts. I'm still using the first easel I ever bought, and I've augmented it with other ones. And again, very sophisticated operation. Coat hangers and clothespins. You can see this is when I was working. This is the 35 millimeter film. That's 36 exposure. It's kind of small compared to the medium format film here. It's about 12 or 13 exposures or more. And the room is really filled up. But anyway, there you go, that's my setup. And one of the unique pleasures of working with film is when you roll it off that reel, I don't know if you all remember this, but the first thing you see is the negative. And sometimes the negative is just so beautiful, right? It's breathtaking when I saw it. The picture's not bad, but I mean the negative. I so miss that when I shoot every now and then with digital. The process is different. For me it is anyway, and maybe it's just because I started that way. I happened to be in Rocky Mount when they were about to tear down an old shopping center, and I was walking around, I'm walking down the hall, and I saw this, God, you're kidding me. I didn't move anything. I mean, sometimes it just happens. Right place, the right time, the light is right. There's a saying for us old timers, F8 and beat it. That's how you get a good picture. You've got to beat it. It's as though there's a wonderful secret in a certain place. I can capture it. Walk around. At the time I was in Johnson County, I found this half a house with this picture on the wall. My lucky day, the house is long gone. So, let me go back to this. So I've been shooting. I stopped going to Polk. I took the pictures that I wanted, and so many of the buildings were locked. It was creepy, like I said. Anyway, I was at the museum one day in 1999 for a lecture, and as I was leaving, I heard my name. Somebody said, David. I said, yeah, and I turned around, and I sort of recognized her. She introduced herself. It was Houston Pascal. She worked at the museum. She was a curator. She had seen my Ellis Island pictures when I exhibited them after I first moved. And what she asked was, would I be interested in photographing Polk Christmas? Little did she know. I said, well, of course. My gosh, what an honor. She said, yeah, the museum is looking for someone to do it. They're going to tear the buildings down, and we want a record of it before it comes down. And I said, absolutely. Glad to do it. I'm honored to be asked. And I said, now, do you want pictures of all the rooms? And you want? No. We have museum photographers to do that, the pure documentary. She said, I want you to do what you do. And I thought, I could do that. The contract read, document in photographs the prison site, including all structures and grounds. There are the dates. There's the site. Proximity to the museum. The beautiful thing about this was, not only did I live a few minutes away, I got the keys. I had to check them out. There were still people there from North Carolina Department of Corrections. And so when I went over, I would go in, and I would sign my name, keys to the prison. And then I could take them, and I'd have to figure out what was what. Oh, man. So I'm thinking, well, that's no good. What if I want to go over there when nobody's there? Or so I went to Burke Brothers Hardware, and I had copies made of the keys, and they did look a little askance at me, but I'm a good customer, so now I've got my own set of keys. Day, night, weekends, free as a bird. So I went to work, and seeing that it was a museum commission, I thought, okay, good job now. Now I'd already been here, but it was sort of a casual thing. I wasn't really looking closely. Anyway, this new situation, I'd go and spend hours. This was the maintenance shed. I loved that you could see where they would hang the tools on the back wall there through the mesh. The place was falling apart. I mean, the electricity hadn't been on in years at this point. one of the dormitories. I don't think youth center. This is a real lockdown prison. This was a nice negative. Venetian blinds. The old dials in the powerhouse, broken glass on the door. I started really seeing some of the details. Grievance box. That, by the way, is the interior of one of the segregation cells. And on the right, you can barely see it, the metal surface with a mattress on it. This is just a few years after the prison closed. This is what it looked like. And I started finding things I never would have found on my cursory visits. Kitchen. This was shocking. There was a dental trailer. What happens if an inmate needs some work done? This appears to be an altercation of some kind. They're going to replace this young man's two front teeth up this. This is the mold that I found. Oh, some wasps took up residence. Little did they know their fate. And this was so poignant to me. You know, I don't know if it's true, but I heard the story that when the prison, this is on the main building built in the 1920s, rather than bring bricks in, they actually forged them at the site or whatever, just they fired them. And while they were still soft, some of the inmates etched their names and their sentences in there. I just think that backwards N on that John is so poignant. Actually, I was looking at this the other day and it reminded me of Sylvia's picture on Ellis Island. I didn't think of it at the time. Oh, and I found this sheet of papers. I guess it was, I know it was intended for the guards, his hand signals. So they can communicate without having to speak, obviously. Some were pretty straightforward. And some were downright, well, each of the buildings had a fire escape plan as required by law. Some were simpler than others. This I found really beautiful. It almost looks like the end paper in the old book. It had weathered so beautifully. That's that main dormitory, the main dormitory with the A wing and B wing. There's a recreation field. That guard tower, by the way, has very steep steps going up it. Whoops, too soon. This, one of the nice things about a long-term project like this, by the way, my commission ended, and I kept going for another couple of years. So I was able to go through the seasons, obviously spring, you just see the guard tower peeking out there between the bushes. Those are the steps up to that guard tower. Snowed one day, and I jumped in my car and went over. I found this wire on the ground. I probably wouldn't have noticed it otherwise, but it really stood out this day. It was really foggy one morning, so again I headed over and made some pictures. Ellis Island was great, but it was an hour drive, and I only had access one day a week. Here, it was a nice cloud formation. I could jump in my car and photograph. I was teaching at the time, so my schedule was pretty flexible, which allowed that. The two sheds on the right there, one evening, it just looked amazing. And go in there again and again. buildings. So photographing the same things, the recreation field, winter night. It's right across the street from nearby the sports stadium. And one night I was over there and I had the fleet lights out on the street to direct traffic, and some of that light spilled over to the basketball court and illuminated the backboard. That building, by the way, is there's beautiful grasses in front. That's where they stored the sporting equipment for the basketballs, baseballs, and so on. And from the other direction, I tell you, I was there one day, and the sky, you can't see it in this picture so well, but it got really, really dark. And this was in the middle of the day. Obviously, a storm was brewing, and the wind was blowing, and so, and then it got really, really still. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I don't know what it was, but something told me that there was a big wind that was going to come. And I knew the grasses in the field were really long, and if the wind started blowing, they might wave back and forth. So I had just loaded some very sensitive film in my camera, 400, and I took it out. I put in 100 speed film. I was racing against time here. I put on every filter that I had in my bag. I wanted to make sure I could get a really, really long exposure to see if I could capture some of that motion. I figured filter factors, reciprocity, and sure enough, the wind came. And, oh, this picture's good. Yeah, you can kind of see. But anyway, the steps down to the field, of course, crisp and clear because they didn't move, but all the grasses, especially over long exposure time, you can really see that motion. The prison officials had gathered all of the bunk beds together in one space. And I would squeeze myself along the right side there to get in that back room there to photograph. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if there's a way to capture this many bunk beds other than a picture like this in an interesting way. And I thought, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll go down here, and I'll squat down, and I'll point my camera back through them this way. And so I tried that. And I didn't think that was very interesting at all, and it certainly didn't give a sense of, hundreds or whatever it is in these bunk beds lined up. And I went home and processed the film and was kind of disappointed, and then I remembered Lighthouse. And I thought, what about a double exposure? Now this was done by accident. I had never done one on purpose. But I had sort of a goal. I thought, well, maybe I'll do another double exposure on purpose and see if I can get the sense of a lot of something. So I took one picture with the lens focused on the things close to me, and then I raised the camera so I could take another picture on the same negative, and then I focused into the distance. So I have close things focused and the back things focused at the same time. The way that you end up with this kind of abstraction. This started life as a rectangle because my square, the camera that I used to shoot square pictures didn't do double exposures. Here it is, and I just ended up cropping. That's a contact sheet, maybe with these. That's good. You are, huh? Okay, so you cut all your strips of film, you put them on a piece of photo paper, you can see it. Yeah. This is not typical of me, but I was in the warden's office and I said, man, if nothing else, I want to get a picture of the warden's office during this project. But the warden's office was like really boring, and it was just bare walls. And I got really frustrated one day, and I threw my head back, and up on the ceiling, this is what I saw, and I said, well, that could be something. And it is and it isn't, but you can see where it's starting to crack a little bit. Anyway, this was maybe a year into the project. And 2 years later, I went back in the warden's office and I looked up. Lo and behold, now that's a picture, that's a picture. And I would have never thought to look up there if I hadn't taken it before. Abandoned, attended. By the time I was done, this got really out of hand. And before they demolished the buildings, they invited taggers and graffiti artists to come by and do their work. And there's, I have rolls and rolls and rolls of pictures. I'll just show you one or two right now. It's spectacular, spectacular what they did. That building, that storage building, they absolutely transformed it. I think it's gorgeous. I photographed one of the guard towers, and doing my little searching around on Flickr, maybe, I found a guy that had photographed the same thing. I mean, it's not so miraculous, it's a small place, but the dark here and the light here, that's, so coincidence. That's what it looks like in color. And then the Goodnights from SAS donates some money to clear the unsightly buildings. And demolition began in 2003. So it's very clever. They cut holes in the, I mean, they knocked out the, not only the window, but the wall to throw the debris down. This is from the inside. That original building built 1922, and maybe you can see the rebar here. I remember very well climbing over this one and going inside and getting behind and shooting out through the rebar. And that's the picture on the right. And the buildings came down. Orange border fence went up. What is that? I want to get her name in the museum park now. You can see a sculpture by Martha Jackson Jarvis made from some of the bricks from the museum. Durham's own Al Frega took some of the prison bars and made the benches and bike racks. So some of the prison does remain. And the museum ended up purchasing 5 of the pictures I made at the site. This one. This one. This one, not to take my word for it, it's a really lovely print. It's late in the day, and that back, the light was just like that. This is in the B-wing one evening. And, you know, I look at this now and it's sort of deja vu. Aside. Like this. This is one of the medical trailers. Like this. And the other reason I thought it would be a good time to do this talk is because right now, through some time, I think in November, December, these 5 pictures are hanging in the museum as part of an exhibition called Panorama, which is the work of several North Carolina photographers, myself included. So I'm honored to be part of that. There's the museum in the old prison, and it's now being transformed to part. Smokestack. And the night that the cleat lights were out, I photographed that storage building with the sports equipment, those grasses. That's it. Thank you very much. I will say a few more words for those of you who are interested in it. I never knew there was a thing called prison photography, but there's a blog. You can go online, and this guy Pete Brook has had this up for years. All the photographers have no idea how to photograph the prison. David Lyon, Deborah Luster, of course, Henri Cartier-Bresson, that's surprising. Anyway, this is a fascinating site, and I'm very pleased to have my story in there as well, if you're here to read more about this. I'll also mention that history was commissioned along with my photographs, and there's like a 150-page history of the Polk Youth Center and the land. It goes all the way back to the Civil War and Native Americans. You can go online, it's a PDF. It's fascinating. All illustrated, that's where I got some of these older pictures. Also, there's the Department of Correction site if you're interested in that. So, one last thing I'll say. We mentioned John Menapace, the great North Carolina photographer who passed away a few years ago. His work was donated, a lot of it, to the North Carolina State University, the great museum. And I just ran into the guy who scanned everything just yesterday. And I do want to mention that all of that work is now available online. You can go online and see all of John's work. It's quite a resource. It's a real treasure. So thank you very much, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
Yes, I have a question right off. I want to talk about your process before you get to that. You mentioned that it was a commission to make the work, and then you also mentioned that they purchased 5 grams. But I'm just curious, when they commissioned you, what were they expecting to receive from that, and how was it set when they later purchased?
Well, there were really no strings attached. The talk early on was that they have an exhibition. Part of the budget was for matting and framing and glass and all that, but that never happened. So this, other than a few pictures here and there, I've never really exhibited this work. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to show you all. It's a lot of work. Glad to have it seen. But when the museums decided they wanted to start a collection of work by North Carolina photographers, they contacted me the day before my 50th birthday. They said, "This is the museum calling. We look at the purchase of work and you bring some over tomorrow." Yes, absolutely. So I could, this is a sort of a madhouse. And obviously they wanted to see the Polk prison work too. So they bought a few things from Ellis Island, a number of things from North Carolina, and the 5 prints from Polk. But I was paid by the museum and this commission, and that really helped in terms of film processing. Gas. Oh my God, the gas. I could walk.
David, could you talk about, and if this is, you've talked so well about it that I'm just wondering if you could say something more, but kind of how your understanding of light developed, but then also it seems like there's some kind of paying attention to light, but then also seeing how it comes through in the camera and that kind of feedback mechanism.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you could talk
like there was something, it's like something alive in my hand. It was like, what is this? Why is this and not these 8? There was something about it. And obviously, I put this one aside. And after a few months and years, you get more over in this pile, right? I mean, that's how it works. And it turned out that on a bright sunny day, now we're digital on curves and stuff, but I never had anything like on the bright sunny day. So I would stay home, process film or whatever. But if it was overcast, or if it just rained, and the, you know, it started to brighten up, things were wet, dark, and beautiful. You know what? Have you ever gone for a walk at the end of the day and you say, "Oh man, the light is beautiful, right?" I mean, I think that film, especially photography, especially black and white, is able to really capture that light. But I said it earlier, distill it, make it stronger, make it more powerful. Look at a piece of paper, it's 2-dimensional. You look at it, and there's light. What's that? So that became very interesting. And I would make it a point to go out when the light was nice. It wasn't always possible. If you all have an assignment that's sunny, well, do what you can, and maybe find some places where it's a little shady, or, you know. And the other thing is contrast. If it's a sunny day, you know, you have some areas that are brightly lit, and some areas that are in shadow. Well, I mean, we can see the bright parts and the dark parts, but the camera can't manage that range of really dark and really bright. So I like a range of brightness that's a little reduced, because that's what works. The other thing is, I was looking at a lot of photographs. My library had some pretty good books, and like I said, I didn't know from any of this except that I got a camera for Christmas. I started taking pictures. I became interested. I went to the library and I said, "This is great. I would have never thought to do that in a million years," and so on. And then you start to hear about this person might have mentioned another photographer, so I looked into that photographer. And through shooting and looking at pictures, that was my experience.
When you're shooting a very obvious subject matter like yellow sock and Polk, there's an obvious subject that you're waiting to work around. What I'd be curious to know is, obviously, all those pinpoints all over the state, you travel a lot. What is it that stops you in your tracks? I mean, I see light, I see form, but then also it's the story of how that tree bends into that fence. But what is it that stops you in your tracks when you're going around just looking?
Well, I try not to put too much pressure on myself. You know, somebody said, be creative, you can't be afraid to fail. I never think about it. I never think of coming home with nothing, because that'd be okay. You know, and I think it was Terry Olson who said, you know, the experience of that, going out with my camera, not only does that heighten my awareness, I had a great day. You know, you're getting pictures, big deal. Ansel Adams would talk about going on this long hike with a donkey, you know, with glass plates, and you get anything, and he remembers the way the wind felt on his face, you know. Having a camera can just heighten the experience. It's just a wonderful thing to be out there. Photography, you know exactly what's going on. I mean, it just feels amazing. So if you get a picture, it's great. You know, that's not a big deal, because you can go out another time. Assignment, that's another thing, but what stops me in my track? What I try to do is not think about pictures. I have a camera I carry over my shoulder, a tripod, and I'm not really looking for pictures. I'm just looking. And I could go for blocks and blocks. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I can't really describe it. I may come across that tree in that parking lot with that light. Whoa. And I know the light is changing fast as it's late in the day, so I better move and get set up and get there, because that light is what is happening. Now, who knew I would end up photographing in a parking lot? In Wilmington, I didn't have that intention, but walking down the street, I looked at this building. Here it is. So, you know, it's kind of inevitable, it's hard to describe, but I'm not looking for pictures, I'm just looking. And I should say that when I Jersey photographing, working in the drugstore. I didn't really have any, I don't want to say that issue, but I didn't think, well, this is going to really do it for me. You know? I never thought about exhibiting. I didn't exhibit until 20 years after I started. It never even occurred to me. This was so personal. I moved here. I went to Cup of Joe after it opened on Hillsborough Street. I met Dave, and he had a wall. He said, "Hey, do you have anything to put up on this wall?" And I said, "Actually, I just came back from Raleigh. Well, came back. I just moved down here and I photographed on Raleigh. I said, why don't you put some pictures up?" Huh, I never thought about that. Okay, well, I will. I did. So, this is getting off on a tangent, but I love the story. So I put him up with Cup of Joe, and I go in like maybe 5-6 times a week, and just sit in the corner and watch people, you know, when they came in, or they just walk by, which was more often the case. Anyway, here they were. I was at a photo exhibition open in Carrboro, North Carolina, at the Arts. I'm standing at the reception table, and grabbing something. And there's a woman across the table, and she said, "Are you interested in photography?" I said, "Photography?" I said, "Yes, yes I am." And she said, "Well, there's a wonderful show at Cup of Joe on Hillsborough Street in Raleigh, if you haven't seen it." See, this is my wife. Isn't that nice? Thank you very much. Photographer, man, stick with it.
These were really focused projects. Do you work with a project idea now when you're out shooting, or just much more conservative?
Well, the North Carolina work, when I first moved here, I mean, I was cognizant of the work that had been done in the South. The FSA photographers worked with Lang, Rivets, and so on. So I was familiar with some of the work that had been done in the South, and the rich history of photography in the South. And I was rare to go. I just came up with this big project on Ellis Island, encouraged and stimulated, and it's a new place for me. I mean, it ain't New Jersey. So I was stunned that I could just, initially, that I could just drive 20 minutes, a half hour in FSA country. So Clayton, home and processed my film, and I thought, wow, it's a very cool place. And I went to Garner, and then I went to Fuquay, and before you know it, I'm in Benson. And so each Sunday I go out, someplace new to shoot. Sometimes I'd come back with things, and sometimes I wouldn't. And I thought, maybe I'll count how many places I've been to. I've been to 96 of them. I hadn't even thought about numbers. I'm going to accumulate this many and that many, and I'll go to every county. Never about that. I was very excited to get out and photograph. That's what we do. So, before you know it, I have all this work. But as far as now, I do a lot of landscape photography. My favorite place to go since I've moved, day one, I went to Umstead State Park. I've been to Umstead State Park more than any other place in North Carolina. I go there all the time, years and years and years. One of the reasons is landscape photography, if you've ever tried it, is extremely challenging. It's really tough to get good at it. Because you know, we're in the woods, it's so spectacular. Oh my gosh, there's a tree blooming there, you know, and all distracted. You take a picture, and whereas you're seeing depth, you know, there's that tree and all these trees behind it, all this stuff in front of it, blooming there. Well, you're talking about a two-dimensional picture that flattens it all out. There's a tree, but there's 100 other trees. That didn't. So, I mean, I'm just very interested in that challenge. You know where it took? Color. Because it finally occurred to me that, you know, that nice green and that gray and that brown, and black and white, they're all kind of the same. So whereas I see the green and the brown and the gray, the black and white picture, it's all mush. You know, if the light breaks through, you know, and reasons is, when I was shooting black and white, I found all like the best spots. So like I'm on the trail for like 2 minutes and then I'm off, right? So I know that place pretty well. And also what times of the day, these different places will have the best light, and the seasons, you know, the fall, forget about it. But then the spring, there's something about the light in November, every 3 or 4 months. The light someplace in the sky, and it just gets really sweet and soft and beautiful. And a place to be in the woods, in Japan. So that's what I mean. And you'll never see anybody because I don't know how to print. But I love looking at the back of that camera and saying, oh man, so serious. Well, yes, Frank.
And a non-photo related question.
Uh-oh, not my wife.
No. The smokestack has been preserved in this new park. I'm just wondering if there's been restoration work on it. I mean, all the other buildings seem to have certainly closed.
Yeah, not that I know. It's 120 feet tall. There was talk about doing, some artists coming down from New York or somewhere, doing an intervention or an artist project. We put that off for now. It's a beautiful thing. You get up close to it. They cleared all around it, and it's now just sort of a centerpiece. And it's beautiful. I don't know if they sandblasted it or cleaned it in any way. I'll be interested to go once the park opens. See.
I know that they said they were talking about some more attached to it. The one reason they
Yeah.
stopped it is they were really worried about safety and integrity of it. Not doing anything that would,
This is a landmark. You can see it from so many places.
Did you ever have any keepsakes that you take home with you from these photo shoots that would sometimes leave an impression on you?
Yes.
Like what? I know you have the keys.
Oh, from there.
Oh, no, I just mean any of the
Anywhere.
shoots.
Yes. Yes, I have. And I'm very careful about that. I try not to go, I don't go in any place where it's clearly marked no trespassing. I did that one time. And I ended up with a gun pointed at me. And I don't know if you've ever had a gun pointed at you. That's really terrifying. I mean, to see that thing anyway. Don't do that anymore. Wouldn't do anything wrong, I was saying. But to answer your question, if I go into an old house that's really about to fall down, or I have no place to be because it's not close, and I see something, you know, a yearbook, every now and then, believe it or not, I'll find like slides or sheets of negatives. I'll take those because I'm very interested. But my feeling is if they haven't gotten this stuff out by now, I don't clear the joint out, I mean, I'll get a trailer or something. But I have taken things. I found, I was in an old grocery store, and I drove by it many times, and I finally looked over, and it was fall, so the leaves, I could see a building in the back. Anyway, I pulled over, I tried to pull a distance away from where I'm going, so it's not obvious there's a car in front of the place. And I walked back, and all I could do to get in, I was trying to take the clippers, cut the brambles and stuff. And I went into this old grocery store. And there were these old ledgers and receipts on one of these things with a pin in it that they were pushing in, stacked. I put them in a bag very carefully. I got home, and it was like so-and-so got this much yard, we'll pay next week. Late 1800s, early 1900s. Like, I should probably be giving these to the museum, right, Stephen?
Right.
Right. Illustrations to Wilson Library. Did I got that right?
Yes.
You would see each other. But, so things like that. I see a photo. I taught at Peace College for many years, now Peace University, and I was in a place somewhere in eastern North Carolina. And there were all these old yearbooks from past years of peace, so that was interesting to me. So yeah, I don't have too many qualms about that. If it looks like it's not anybody's property, or anybody would want it in the future. I also kind of like to leave things as I find them before I photograph. I'm not about setting things up, but that's just me. Some people do. The one thing I will say, the picture, I don't know if you remember, the shopping cart in the shopping mall. I set that up, and there was some debris and papers, like when I'm looking at the bottom of the frame, and I said, well, that would be pretty good. So I moved those things away, so when I looked, it was clear at the bottom of the picture, if you know what I mean. Otherwise, it was touching. I moved things like that.
What were the places you, and have you ever had a motion?
I'll get very emotional. Sure. Andre Cortez, great photographer, said, what I feel, I do. You know, when you see something you haven't seen before, the heart feels something. And when you're not with your camera, your senses are heightened. It can be very emotional when you see something really beautiful. Now, I have been photographed trembling with excitement what I found. And somebody will walk by and go, what are you doing? Take a picture. And they'll look and I say, of what? Of that. They don't see it, right? So one of the wonderful things about Peloton is that when we were exchanging pictures, we were all photographing Peloton, but everybody's pictures were different. We can't help it, right? You see things a little differently than you do. It's what makes it so interesting. Because not only are we seeing the subject matter, but in a way, it's the same person who made it to and what they're interested in. So I always tell people, really interested, whatever it is, your family, what is it? What do you something? You're close to it. And Andre Cortez says, what I feel I do, why I guess I was born this way. That's maybe that's why I feel like I do. Maybe that's why I get excited when the light is falling big in a certain way. I'm just real fortunate that I found photography early on. Thanks a lot, everybody.